All right, I call this day 2 because basically the 29th of December 2016 was the new moon. So I'm considering the 30th as day 1. I wasn't able to get any pictures or film of the moon on that particular day. So um, day 2 starts out as the 31st. Oh, excuse me. So I just wanted to bring a bunch of these pictures together, show you what I have done. There's, the timestamp, the date, so you can, observe this yourself, come up with your own conclusions. I also did a few time lapse in here. Some of them I slowed down a little bit or sped up a little bit more than others, just to give you a little better look at it. Even a few of them I did take a picture in between, so you could see the timestamp on it in between the time lapse, give you a little better idea. What the whole purpose of this is just for observations. You can all look at how the moon starts out as this little sliver. And one of the things we always see is this glow when it first starts out, showing its face, the moon's face. You'll see this glow on the upper half of the moon. So where does this glow come from? That's a good question. I did a few close-ups here. Didn't know what I'd see. I was actually kind of trying to get some detail of it. Wasn't successful. It just, it's more like an illusion. It's almost like you can see right through this part of the moon. But, the little bit of light that shines on it or through it lets us see this area right here. I always like shooting the moon on these days because I think it's awesome. And if you can catch this part of the glowing moon, it kind of, adds to the excitement, the fascination, the mystery of the moon. And though I always wondered, because they tell us it's the reflection of the sun shining off the moon, but in some cases where I see it during the day, and then I look at where the part of the moon that's lit up compared to the part of the moon that isn't, and where the sun should be in relations to the moon, it doesn't always line up the way you would think it would, from your perspective. And even, the sun being 93 million miles away, the position of where the moon's at, and where we see it and where we see the moon, things just don't line up. They don't align properly, and that's kind of one of the things that I was thinking about while shooting the moon and doing these videos and photographs, and time lapses, is trying to figure where the position of the sun is in comparison to the moon. And like I said, some of it does not line up. Now, I think it's going to be on part 6. I do a little bit of video during the day, yeah, day 6, I think it is. And I show you where the moon is in the sky and where the sun is. And things just, like I said, they just don't line up. So, as we observe the moon going through its phases, now I'm going to try to not make the videos too long, but they're going to have to be fairly long because I did take more pictures on some days than other days, depending on the weather. And I take this all the way up to the full moon, which was well, just the other day. So this might wind up being you know, 3, maybe even 4 parts. As I make these videos, I'll, you know, determine how long to make them for, and try to give you all the pictures that I did do. So we'll see what happens from there. I actually, in a couple of these, I couldn't, I don't know if it was because of the weather or maybe because of my camera setting, but I couldn't really get this glow part of the moon on one particular day. But then another day I did get it. So I was like saying, you know, is it the atmosphere that I'm you know, shooting through that causes some of this to occur, or what exactly is it? So now we're going to move into day 3. And again, I'm trying to take pictures farther away, up close. But this day, you know, Venus was real close to the moon, so I definitely wanted to catch Venus, you know, with my camera near the moon. And you also see how, you know, when you get back a little further, the glow is a little brighter, so it kind of covers up some of the glow on the top of the moon. So, you know, again, these are observational videos. Also, you know, we'll discuss throughout some of these parts to these moon phases about, you know, clouds in front of the moon, clouds supposedly behind the moon by some people's claims. And I am going to say that I'm against the clouds behind the moon, and there's many reasons why that I feel that way. You know, sometimes we want to explain things, but sometimes there is an illusion going on too. And on this one, I didn't quite get a good focus on the moon as I started my camera, or it also, I know I had some real hazy nights where, you know, the sky was like foggy appearance. But of course, you know, with the density of the clouds or the fog up there, it was thin. So, you know, you pretty much see right through those thin, less dense clouds, or, you know, might as well call it like a fog, a haze. But, you know, this is what prompted me on my, you know, researching clouds behind the moon and sun. So, you know, after I watched some of my own videos, I know that that part is an illusion due to the amount of light that's coming into the camera. So we'll talk about this and that in some of my other videos. Plus, I won't be putting too many videos on here. This is going to be mainly pictures and time lapse, but every now and then I will put a video and try to explain, you know, why I'm actually putting that video up there. But I like to do these observational videos because it does make you question a lot of things that we've been taught. Now, I'm sure somebody can come in and say, hey, I can explain it all to you, ladies and gentlemen. You know, and they'll say, you know, oh, I'm more educated into this and I know exactly what's going on, even though they've never been to space themselves. They work with models, they work with, you know, illustrations and whatnot. And of course we can all understand and appreciate some of this, but is it the total truth? You know, if you cannot, you know, justify and show evidence of all these phases from space, what good is it, really? I mean, because it's just an assumption that this is why this is occurring without the solid evidence, solid proof that, you know, I like to see the data, the evidence, Okay, let's dig into all the equations, all the ways that you figure out the distances to things. You know, first of all, we have to start out with the distance to the sun. How do we know that your quote of 93,000 miles is correct and true? I mean, even in your equations, if you're off a tad bit, this can throw everything, and I mean absolutely everything, out of whack. So again, should we just trust in all the scientists, um, astrophysicists, and theoretical physicists, and I mean, come on, we should be asking for more proof, more evidence. We should ask for all the data that they use to make us believe in this stuff. A belief is exactly that. It's a belief. And sometimes you have to believe in some of these things that we're told, um, even without proof. And that's where, wow, I mean, we really should draw the line on some of these things that we're told, as far as being true, is, standing your ground and saying, oh, yes, it's absolutely true. Scientists have proved it. Well, show me the proof. Show me this real proof, this real evidence, and then you might get a lot of people to actually agree with you. But just because a bunch of astrophysicists get together and they decide that this is the distance we're all going to agree on, instead of it being changed throughout history, because, one guy says it's at this many million miles, and another guy says, no, it's at this many million miles. It's all a guesstimate in my eyes, without actual solid proof, solid measurements. Because you got to remember, too, we have, a lot of atmosphere above us, even with these big telescopes. If they're zooming in on the sun, come on, that's not a measurement. And your assumptions of the distance is an assumption. It's a guesstimate. I mean, I can go out there and tell you that it's 32 miles away from Earth. Maybe 33. How's that? And it's only 30 miles wide. And it will give you the same effects on a flat plane Earth as it would a globe Earth 93 million miles away. So, well, not thinking for yourself and just agreeing with what you're being told by somebody that claims that they're much more educated than you. What are they educated with? Are they educated with the same stuff that they're trying to get you to believe? Because that, to me, is crazy stuff. Because a group of people agree on something, the whole world's got to agree with them. Otherwise, once it's being taught in school, you'll be the class clown because you'll question it. So, for fear of ridicule, mockery, criticism, and made fun of, one decides to go along with the popular beliefs. Go along with the masses. Because I don't want to be ridiculed. I don't want to be made fun of. So let's just go along with what we're being told, so we can have a better world. Baloney. Agreeing or believing in a lie is believing in a lie. It's not the truth. So unless you get the correct evidence, really good solid evidence, and it can be tested and tested and tested and agreed upon and confirmed by many different sources, not just a group, not just a small group, should be able to get us to believe in anything. So again, thinking for yourself and deciding things for yourself is actually a very, very good thing to do. This was by the way, this was a much longer time lapse of the moon. I think this was a 2.5 hour time lapse that I did, pull further away, and you see the stars, but the moon, because it was glaring on this cloudy kind of milky sky. I got the stars, but that moon was just glary. Same way with some of these pictures. See, you see that white glare, and when you pull further away, it actually makes the moon look bigger than what it is because of the glare of the moon. Okay. Well, to get back to what I was saying about, a belief, when we all start agreeing and believing in one thing, and here's where I was, let's get back to this. Here's where I was saying that I was able to catch that glow of the moon this particular day. And I'm not sure if I reset my camera right to be able to catch it, but I did play with the exposure and exposure bracketing a little bit, and I think that's what got me to be able to actually film that glow. But not as much detail on it as what we got when it was just a little sliver. But again, observations are, you can confirm a lot of things with observations, and that's why I do mostly all observational videos, is to let people look with their own eyes. Now, you don't have to believe a word that I say, and I don't expect you to. Go out and do your own experiments, your own observations, and use your own mind. It's your mind. It's whatever you conclude, whatever you come up with, that's up to you. It has nothing to do with believing in a group of people and what they're telling you to believe. Think for yourself. Okay, just took some pictures. I'm taking pictures last couple of days. Now I want to zoom in on that edge. It's been raining, so I'm afraid to leave my camera out here on a time lapse. So we'll do some video. Not long. Again, I don't want to stay out here in this moist weather with my camera. Alright, I'm going to let you watch the rest of this video. This is going to conclude this part of the moon phase video that I'm making. And again, I want you to be your own judge. Think for yourself. Try it. Works pretty good sometimes. Makes you realize a lot of stuff. Thanks for listen. You might hear the water still dripping out of the trees. It's kind of cleared up pretty good though. But like I said, there's a lot of moisture. A lot of moisture. Look at how the light changes. I was hoping to do another time lapse today, but with the weather that was happening earlier, it wasn't going to happen. So I'm settling on taking some video. And we'll try to catch most of the moon in here. The visible moon. It's quite amazing that when I try to videotape that portion of the moon that glows, it don't show up on video, only on pictures. And using the same mode, the camera mode, to take these videos, I would have thought maybe I could catch that glowing part of the moon, but apparently it don't work that way. So, let this part come down here in front of it. Now go back to the other side, being that I really didn't stay on that other side long. Now, by looking at these, you could say that the sun is shining on the moon, but I've actually videotaped the moon at midnight, directly overhead, and at midnight the sun should have been on the other side of the earth, which it would have had to have been shining through the earth to shine on the moon, which just can't happen. Unless somebody's going to tell me that the sun and the moon are, oh, the sun's above the moon, or the sun's above Earth, still shining on the moon when it's still on the other side of the Earth. I mean, I guess you could say that, but I always, and look at there, you can see the clouds, some thin clouds rolling across the moon right now. And this is why I say, you know, you got some clouds that are so thin that the moon and the sun will blare through. It will shine right through it. I mean, there's an obvious example of these thin clouds. And now they're getting thicker, and they're going to block me out. And look at my camera, even trying to focus in on the clouds and not so much the moon. The clouds are getting in between, and when they get thick, see, my camera wants to, it wants to focus in on those clouds and not so much the moon. Let's see here if I zoom back a little bit. Yeah, we ain't getting nothing. We get a little sliver, little light in there. Not much. Okay, well, these clouds are rolling back in, so we are expecting more rain. I just happened to get lucky and get a little hole in the clouds, or a little hole in the sky, to get those pictures, which was cool because I really wanted to get pictures of the moon every night as it becomes full, if it's possible. All right, thanks. Have a good night.